Hey there, Jonathan Sports. In this video, I'm going to talk about two wide receivers in each round the Giants could pick. It's not a prediction video. I'm just going to give y'all my opinion on this wide receiver group this year. I'm going to try and keep it as realistic as possible. That's why I'm only going to talk about wide receivers that are projected to go right around the Giants picks. So I'm pretty sure the Giants are taking a wide receiver early, first 4 rounds in this draft. And that's what initially made me curious about this year's wide receiver group coming out. And as I started watching film and highlights, it became apparent that this year's wide receivers are special. It's a dynamite class. I even found wide receivers that I like that are projected, to go in like the 6th round, in the 200 pick range. I know the draft's been beaten to death, but I think it'll be fun talking about some later round players in this year instead of just focusing on first round. So you never know. Maybe I'll bring up a player you guys haven't heard of, and you can go check out some highlights or something. Maybe something will come of it. I've been non-stop watching film on wide receivers, edge rushers, and O-line. I'd like to make videos for all them positions like this one. So if you enjoy this video, please hit me up and let me know. I'd love to do more just like it. So without further ado, the Giants' first round pick 11, I've chosen Devontae Smith and Rashad Bateman. I'll start with Devontae Smith, the Slim Reaper they call him. And this dude has, he has been elite in college. He's won about every award in college history, including the Heisman. 46 touchdowns in 4 years, 23 touchdowns just last season. I know a lot of people are goo gaga over Chase and Waddle, and for good reason. But I think Devontae is being slept on hard, by a lot of people. I think he's straight up the best route runner in this draft. And I ain't trying to hear how, he can't play outside. That's bullshit. You put him on the outside, good luck trying to press this kid. If you press and miss, your ass is in trouble. This dude will get the ball. To me, he has the best hands in the draft, just straight up. Maybe you could argue Chase. But, this kid, he can stop on a dime. And to me, the biggest thing is Devontae fits the Giants scheme. As good or better than all the wide receiver prospects, in my opinion. All I gotta say is, to the corners who govern him, is good luck. I'm telling you, throw it up and he can make some Odell-like catches. I know you don't hear that from a lot of people that talk about him. So I hear teams that are worried about his weight. Not me. He's just hard to tackle. He won't be taking many, clean shots, getting jacked up. So I think in the right situation, he could be a Pro Bowl wide receiver day one, straight up. Now, on Rashad Bateman, it's a little early to take, Rashad at 11, but to be realistic, I think Waddle and Chase won't make it to that point. Rashad's the only wide receiver I would even think about, entertaining at pick 11, which tells you how I feel about him. I guess if the Eagles pass on him, he'll probably go to the Ravens or Packers. First off, I understand people's skepticism. I think if Rashad had a better quarterback throwing him the ball last year, there'd be less concern about him. It seemed like he didn't do good when he was covered by good corners. That was the first thing, and he had some problems with the deep ball. There's also questions like how he can do against, the press in the NFL. But Rashad just looks like an NFL wide receiver. He's got very good hands. He can build up speed from a full stop. It's pretty impressive. The dude is sneaky elusive as well. He's going to have to toughen up and improve on contested catches deep. If he can improve on that, I could see him being like a borderline number 1 wide receiver right off the bat. If he doesn't improve from his college film, he'll be a number 2 with moments of big plays. Like I said, shot at 11 would be like a reach, but I want to get at least 2 wide receivers for each round I talk about. So, gotta throw somebody in there. On the 2nd round, pick 42, and I chose Rondale Moore and Dyami Brown. So I'm sure if you've been watching mock drafts, you heard the name Rondale Moore quite often. Rondale Moore could very easily be the best slot wide receiver in the NFL in 2 to 3 seasons in the right situation. He's a bit undersized, but he makes up for it with just awesome speed. He may be small, but he is strong for his size. Very underrated route runner. And in my opinion, he's most dangerous after the catch. Rondale would, clean up in an offensive system like Kyle Shanahan's or something like that. There's obvious limitations because of his size, and I think that will make him slide, into the 2nd round. But he'd be a dream pick in the 2nd for the Giants. Having Shepard on the team would allow, Rondale to sit and learn. He wouldn't be pressured, just instantly be on the field a lot. Shit, he can learn from the best, you know. He just needs reps more than anything. That's what he needs to progress his career. Some people view him as a boom or bust. I don't think he'll bust. You know, at a minimum, you're getting a great, you know, kick, punt, returner, and a guy who can take, you know, sweeps and screens to the house just any play, anytime he touches the ball. Now, on Dyami Brown, I've seen people say Dyami will go like end of the first, and I've also seen people say he'll go like mid rounds. I've seen people say he'll go fourth round, which is crazy to me. I think pick 42 is right around where I feel comfortable taking a shot on him. He's like the definition of a deep threat. He's averaged 20 plus yards a catch over his last 100 receptions. He's only 6'1", but he is just a long dude. He's got some long ass arms. You know, I think he's a scheme fit with the Giants. You know, and defenses have to respect his speed, which opens up curl routes. Sound familiar, Giants fans? He also has a little Darius Slayton in him, if you ask me. You know, he drops some passes here and there. You know, he isn't a perfect route runner. I just think he could, you know, fill in for Slayton, and you wouldn't see much of a difference. It might even be a slight improvement. He may need some coaching, but I think he could get by as a day one starter. But I wouldn't expect a Pro Bowl anytime soon. In the third round, pick 76, the two wide receivers I chose is Dwayne Eskridge and Tylan Wallace. So let's jump in there and start with Dwayne Eskridge. It's the third round, so I think it's time to maybe take a shot on a guy. This dude is straight up home run hitter. You know, he had 3 touchdowns over 70 yards last season. You know, he can just straight up fly. Now, he wasn't asked to run a bunch of, you know, different routes in college, so I'm not sure that has something to do with, you know, Dwayne, or if it's just how they use him. You know, some people are saying he has a limited route tree, but we heard the same kind of things about DK Metcalf when he was coming out. You know, this one, though, to me, is a boom or bust pick. Me personally, I'd be comfortable with the pick if we don't take a receiver in the first 2 rounds. Next is Tylan Wallace, aka Mini Galladay. You know, he's pretty damn good at jump balls for his size, and he can make people miss. You know, he took a couple of screens to the house. It just, you know, shows his versatility. You know, he's just a playmaker. I think he could be a day one starter on a team that's like lacking some weapons maybe, and the dude's route running is on point. There's honestly very few negatives that I could come up with watching him tape. Some people complain that his effort wasn't there, you know, on plays where they weren't designed for him to get the ball. And I guess there's some questions on how he could fare, you know, against press coverage. Now, I've heard people say Tylan will go as early as the 2nd round. I've also heard the 4th. You know, people were just all over on him. You know, I didn't want to go too high on him, so, you know, so I plopped him, you know, right in the middle. I didn't want to go too high or low. So if the Giants get this dude in the 3rd round, I'd be pumped. All right, 4th round now, and the wide receivers I chose are Amir Smith-Marset and Chatarius Atwell. In my opinion, Amir Marset is one of the more underrated wide receivers in this draft. I love his speed, you know, and if you watch his tape, he consistently made over-the-shoulder grabs. He makes them look easy. He just made a ton of plays for Iowa. His highlights are, you know, worth a click. He's also just a weapon on sweeps, screens, kick returns, all the good stuff. Absolutely love the kid. You know, he's got long legs, so he's not a quick stop-and-go guy, you know, like Shepard. He's a straight-up burner, you know. The farther straight down the field he goes, the more, you know, speed he's going to build up. You know, I've seen this kid receive a lot of hate, but not me. You know, I believe him. Especially in the 4th or 5th round. If you're gonna call curl route every 3 plays this year, then don't make this pick. You know, crossers and streaks, you'll eat. Now, Chatarius Atwell, aka Tutu, is maybe a top 5 athlete at wide receiver in this draft. You know, the glaring problem is Tutu is 5'9", and he's about 160 pounds. So you got to worry about injury, I guess, when somebody's that small. But like a lot of other players, you know, I chose in this video, he's a home run hitter. Sweep screens, you know, all the gadget stuff, as they call it. You know, he could just take it to the house anytime he touches the ball. You know, I read that he ran a 4.240 time. I guess that was an official time. I don't know where it was taken. It was just an article I read. You know, but just straight up, he's dangerous. The only reason I think he'd go this late is his size. With Gettleman bringing in guys like John Ross this offseason, why not just draft a similar guy, you know, that you can pay way less money and have under contract for 4 years? They have similar build, similar speed. So, with no 5th round pick, we'll jump on to the 6th, where the Giants actually got 2 picks at 196 and 201. The 2 wide receivers I chose for the 6th round is Trevon Grimes and Marlon Williams. Most of the players I've chosen today are like speedy route runner types. I know a lot of Giants fans prefer big, tall wide receivers, so I picked out a couple for the last 2 picks. The end of this draft is just loaded with big, huge, tall wideouts, and one of them that I kind of like was Trevon Grimes. The first benefit of a big receiver is just run block, which Trevon is great at. Trevon has a lot of work to do, I'll say that. The one worry I have for him is just very tight hips, just tight all around. But I like his catching. He catches with his hands, Keenan style, if you know what I mean. And obviously, jump balls are a bonus, being 6'4", 220 pounds. But for his size, he can break tackles as well. It's nice. I wouldn't mind this pick in the 6th round, for just red zone plays alone. And I'd like to see him sit and develop. He could really become a piece, especially for a 6th round pick. So finally, we're at the end of the road. Let me finish this up with Marlon Williams from UCF. Marlon is only 6 foot, but he's a big receiver. He's like 220, 225. Most receivers nowadays are coming out like 6 foot, 190, 195. But he's a big slot receiver. Great hands. He's physical as hell. Contact and traffic won't affect him very much at all, if at all. From everything I read about this kid, he's a super competitive, player, leader. He's going to need to work on his route running, obviously, but there's plenty of time for that. But I just love his size and physicality. When you're in the 6th round this late, just, if players have something that you can work around, just take a shot. Well, that's the wide receivers I'm personally interested in this draft. Hope this video ain't an hour long, but I haven't talked very much about this draft, this whole off season, and I really love a bunch of these guys. In my mock draft, I took wide receiver Amari Rodgers from Clemson in the 3rd round. I didn't want to, I do love him, probably more than any of the 3rd rounders I chose. I didn't want to have 2 videos with the same player. That seemed kind of weak. I don't know if y'all noticed, but a lot of these wide receivers are like game breaker style. Just get Daniel Jones some weapons. Jones can just throw a screen. And one of these guys can take it to the house. Some people like to label wide receivers like I chose as gadget players. I don't like that word. I get calling someone a gadget receiver if they never elevate to where they should. But we should give these kids a little bit of time before we just slap them with this gadget label. I'm not predicting where the Giants take a wide receiver, but if you put a gun to my head, I'd bet money Gettleman will draft one in the first 4 rounds. That's my one prediction on me. I'm gonna end this video before we hit 4 hours here. If you made it to the end of this video, send me a comment on who your favorite wide receiver is, or you'll think the Giants will what round the Giants will take a receiver. That's it from me. Like and subscribe. Stay safe. Peace.